edginess. The kings of edginess, or the wokeness, I guess, whatever you want to say.
King woke. King,
I know it's already started. I know. I like to start off randomly, so when people click on it, they're like, "What are they talking about? Did I miss something?" Let me rewind it back, because they don't know. But anyway, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the after party. I am here joined by this lovely fellow.
Hello, I am Taint.
Your guess is as good as mine. I'm not gonna go further with that. I'm just gonna leave it as it is. We have a few things we're gonna talk about in tonight's live stream. Hello, Jose, Failure Gaming, Canada Graphs, Vasily, Flashpoint, Druve, Packs Up, Prayak, Victor, Think Noodle, Weather Girl Flash Fan. What's up, everybody? Dino Dragon, how's everybody doing? Good to see you. We have a few subjects we're going to talk about tonight, predominantly Flash and Stargirl. Those are the things we'll talk the most about. Of course, super chats are appreciated, and if you have anything, drop those in there. And we will
the major thing we need to talk about before we start is, but before we went live, me and Eric were actually in a bit of I'd call it a sing-off. We were singing Dancing in the Moonlight.
Okay.
I put a bit of a twist on it.
Okay.
And it turned into a bit of a diss track because I changed some of the lyrics to make it seem that Eric smelled really bad.
Okay, yeah.
Eric sang the traditional lyrics, though. So I don't know.
Mine wasn't a good diss track, I guess. It wasn't as good as it could have been,
I thought it was diss track, sort of. It was a bit of a fusion sort of thing, but yeah, maybe I went too far. So there's a bit of tension and beef already before we start.
Yeah,
so
I don't know if we're going to be able to do it like this tonight. Might be a very stressful live stream.
Yeah, so. So maybe if you want us to visit this, maybe a round 2. Yeah. Honestly, technically it's a round 3 because there was that situation a couple of months back. But yeah, so next week we could do round 3, and maybe someone picks the song. I wouldn't mind doing Dancing in the Moonlight again. However. I know Eric's a big fan of "Toxic" by Britney Spears, and you know what? I'm willing to dive into that. It's a challenge. It's a challenge for me.
Okay,
but I always thought I had the upper hand with Dancing in the Moonlight.
So that would be like my home court advantage.
I'm away for that game. It's definitely a home ground advantage. And no away fans are coming. No away fans are tuning in. It's just a home game for you.
All the fans have the high ground for you.
Yeah.
So so look forward to that. So we're going to be talking about. Tom says that there's a date for Supergirl. I didn't see that, and I looked before we went live. So unless it's totally hidden,
Jesse Rath said they're starting September 28th, but
okay,
that can change because
it could,
yeah, because that's so long away.
We meant like a date for the season, not for the filming, because I don't really know if that's like
they'll be coming out like May, I guess, sometime probably.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about Flash. We're going to talk about Stargirl. We're going to talk a little bit about this release, the whatever cut we're on. We'll probably start out with that, and then we got a couple other small things, maybe some Doom Patrol, maybe a few other random things. Basically, wherever the chat goes outside of that, we'll jump into it. We have a couple super chats already. We're not even talking about Stargirl, and people are already. I love this because I think Stargirl is really good, and I think it catches a lot of heat sometimes. So I'm glad that people are excited enough to drop some super chats. We got a $5 super chat from Sigma RS. Awesome to catch this live. Thank you. Welcome to the live stream. Love Stargirl this week. Such a strong season. I'm going to say that I have to agree. I've had way more fun with Stargirl than I've had with a lot of shows this year.
Wow.
So,
even more than Legends?
Definitely more than Legends. I don't know. Something about Stargirl is different. I think it's not just the filming and the production quality. It's just a different vibe on that show that I really enjoy. So I'm really enjoying this season. I'm assuming you enjoy it too. You seem pretty happy about talking about it every week. So am I putting words in your mouth, or is that true? Are you also enjoying it this season?
Affirmative.
Okay. We got another $1.99 super chat here from Adam Grunther. Thank you so much. Do you think any JSA members are secretly alive? Ooh, nobody. There's somebody hiding out somewhere. I don't know. I mean, I guess there could be, but why would they be in hiding, and how would they have been in hiding? I don't know. I mean, maybe members that we didn't see in that battle could be out there somewhere, but you would think that Pat would know about that. I don't know if I want to see that. You have any opinions about this? Any secret JSA members just kind of chilling?
Well, no. Technically, they wouldn't. I guess they'd be secretly alive, but they would have died. So I could say the immortal people. So Dr. Fate and the Hawks could be alive, but the Hawks, it would make sense for them to be at any age where they would be able to be in the show. They'd be like 10 years old, 11 years old, maybe come season 2.
Right.
So it would make sense for them to be there. Dr. Fate's the only one where that could be a former JSA member that goes, "Hello, I'm going to help you out."
Right.
And it would be someone else wearing the helmet. So
yeah.
He'd be it. I don't think
So
you're going to see
Fate. That's the final answer.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see, unless they have it was JSA members that weren't in that photo, but they were part of the JSA, then one did their own thing or something like that. Because there are JSA members that could have been in that photo that weren't in that photo. So, like Mr. Terrific, for example. I could have Mr. Terrific somewhere.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't think anybody that we saw in the opening scenes with them dying, I don't think any of those characters are alive. So, so maybe the answer to that is maybe. Anthony Beltry with a 199 super chat. Season 1 Flash or season 1 Stargirl? That's kind of an unfair thing because we're not done with the first season of Stargirl. And I love the first season of Flash, but I think it's a tough race because Stargirl's had, in my opinion, a very strong starting season. So I guess we'll have to wait and see when it gets to the end of the season. I love Flash. It is my favorite DC superhero show. So, my bias is going towards Flash. Yes, I have a Flash bias. But I think Stargirl's had a really strong season. Do you have any opinion about this? Season 1 Flash or season 1 Stargirl?
Pretty much in the same boat. I have to wait and see how it ends. I'm still probably leaning towards Flash was better. I still think Arrow season 2 and Flash season 1 are probably still the best, but Stargirl's competing where it could maybe, I don't know if it would beat them, but it'd definitely be tied maybe for second. It'd knock one of them down. Well, Arrow season 2 most likely down to 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have to wait and see how the season ends because it could suck. It could poo the bed.
We were actually going to talk about Stargirl much later, but it looks like everybody's really excited about tonight's episode. I'm not really surprised. I mean, this episode was one of the best of the season, probably right now in my top 2. I gave it an extremely high score, but I think it's definitely in my top 2 for the season. So I guess we'll continue to talk about Stargirl. So here we go. 499 from Staggervore. How did you feel about Courtney coming to terms about who her father is? I like the way it went down in terms of like the way she accepted it and stuff. I honestly felt like for me that it felt like a natural response, like the way she was sort of like, you can't be my father. This is not the person that I want him to be. And she was just very much against that. And then as time went on, she started to accept it. And then the fact that I think, at least from my perspective, and I've had a couple people that said that they didn't think that this was the case, but I think that she realized when he asked for the locket that he was kind of a scumbag. Would you agree with that? I think that was like, she knew, at least I thought she knew. I could tell from looking at her. I'm like, she knows that that he's not coming back after this,
Yeah, 100%. That he was there for one reason.
Yeah, he wanted the money. That was it. And so, I thought it was a very touching scene there. Let's see. We got another one here from Adam. Thoughts on the recent episode? You guys are just all over the map already. Like, this is crazy. So 199 Super Chat, what are your thoughts on the recent episode of Doom Patrol? So I guess this podcast, this live stream is going to be it's kind of be like a throwing darts at a board, I guess. So this recent episode of Doom Patrol was Dumb Patrol, and that was the best title for the episode. Hashtag, that's how I felt about it. It was
drama alert, hashtag edgy, hashtag controversial.
So next to the Sex Patrol episode, this was probably my second least favorite. Like those 2 episodes this season have been my least favorite episodes. It's just not my bag. It's not what I like when I tune in the shows. I just thought the whole picture thing was ridiculous. Outside of the stuff with Jane and some of the info we got on on Dorothy, I just wasn't really into it at all. And that's kind of where I was on it. Any thoughts on Doom Patrol? Your thoughts on it?
Well, I can't remember that episode. I know, like, they open the box and they get dumb, but I can't remember.
But then he also lands the spaceship in the woods and goes out and has like a spiritual journey where he tries to talk to talks to the mother of Dorothy, but then talks to Candlemaker instead. And
Willoughby shows up.
Yes, and Willoughby shows up and says, hey, is it time to do it? And he's like, yes, kind of thing. So that part of it I liked, but I think everything else I didn't like pretty much. So
yeah, that's like one of the issues when they don't have a clear plot line for the season. Is that when, like, they just have to sort of do like a whole, oh, here's a situational thing. They open a box and get dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember. I watched them all in a row, so it sort of like melded into one thing.
All right, so that's good. So yeah, there you go. There's your answer. Amir with a $5 super chat. Sam Curtis straight up low life. They didn't even try to build his character up. The one thing about his character, what I think they did really well, is in one episode they told me everything I needed to know about this character. You know what I mean? Like, go ahead. I mean, they really did.
Even just the music that they came with, the music was sleazy. It was in excess. But it's in excess when back because Australian, so I know in excess. But in excess, Australian band, but the guy died. The main guy died in the 80s, early 90s. Yeah, 80s, early 90s.
I think it was early 90s, but go ahead.
Yeah, and in the early to mid 2000s, I think it was, they tried to have a revival and they got a new singer, and he was the sleaziest new singer. Think Las Vegas, and that's the song. It was Pretty Vegas. And the song, as soon as that came on, you knew this guy was just going to be a sleaze, and just and he finished off the sleaze thing with his last comment to Pat before clocking it. In the head.
Punch was so glorious.
Yeah, and you could just tell he was just this, like, a piece of work.
So glorious.
Yeah.
You know what? And I think one of the things. Thank you for your super chat, by the way. I think one of the things that I really enjoyed about how this episode was structured was they did not really rush anything. They took their time with every element, I think. And they did it because they weren't building up to some big battle. They weren't worried about fight scenes. They really were just worried about telling the story and getting the story across to us. So I think the pacing from the time that Courtney came in and that moment where Pat walks up and Courtney is standing there and he knows that something really crappy just happened. And so he acknowledges to her that he's always going to be there for her, and then I think in that moment, she realizes that Pat is her father, that she doesn't need this other person, and that she doesn't need Starman, that she has Pat, he's there for her. And you get that moment where they're just kind of standing there looking at each other. And I'm like, this is really quality storytelling. Like, this is really good. And then, like, she walks over, you have the hug moment or whatever. And then you see him following Sam down the street. And I knew something was going to happen at that point. And I thought, like, Sam's already a scumbag. So he's already, like, done some really horrible crap. And then the comment about Barbara was just like, I didn't see any way that scene didn't end with Pat punching him. Like, honestly. Yeah. And he's like, you're lucky I'm busy. And I thought, oh my God, this is just like the swag when he walked away. Just a great moment. And,
I think a good moment about that is that if you watch that and you end up being like a really, let's just get demonetized, shitty father figure,
right?
Then I don't know what's going to help you, because I just told you not what to do and what not to do when you put in that parental responsibility.
I tell you what, he was charming her so much at the beginning, basically the whole family.
Well, I think that's why it was a really good casting, because I think he played that guy who, I don't think he walks in and you go, oh, he's definitely like, looks like a golden star father figure.
Right.
But I think he was able to play that to almost con Courtney, because he's obviously a con artist. That's pretty much what he is, just is. So to play that con artist and sort of suck Courtney in, but then also so you can believe that why Courtney would get sucked in, but then also why he's just this A-grade asshole as well.
Right. Also, the crazy thing was when he pulled out the locket, he was talking about how special they were. I was like, do the lockets have some sort of power? Are we about to like see something happen here? I thought for a second, like maybe something was going to happen.
Wonder Twins.
Yeah, something or whatever. But anyway, we have a $5 super chat from Amir here. Thank you so much. We finally realized Brainwave is much more colder than Icicle, easy killing his own family. So I would say, and I guess people kind of misunderstood me in my video about this, but I think that Brainwave and Icicle, we know that Icicle or Jordan is like the de facto sort of leader of the ISA, but I think Brainwave secretly wants to be leader. At least from what I could tell in their interactions, it felt like he wanted to sort of take charge, because I think he told Jordan to like make up your mind or I'll do it for you kind of thing. It's like he was almost like threatening his authority with the team. So do you think there's going to be any kind of like tension between the two of them before the end of the season for like control of the ISA?
Well, like if you look at Brainwave, he's always had something holding him back from just sort of letting go. Like he's always had his wife and his son, and then Jordan sort of made him kill his own wife to sort of like cut the fat, if you want to call it. And now his son's gone. He's gained more power from his son going as well. So if you're Brainwave, you're sitting there going like, mate, I'm like the most powerful person here. Why am I taking orders? I can kill this dude from a distance, just look and go, oh, their brains exploded.
I mean, he's about to be the most powerful villain on the planet when he puts that machine into work.
And he knows he's essential to the plan as well. So he's got like the upper hand and everything. So, he's probably sitting there going like, what am I doing here? It's like...
Yeah, Laura here, Team Airrick member. I love after Pat hit the dad. He said, "You're lucky I'm busy." I love that too. That was one of my favorite lines in the whole episode. Let's talk a little bit about Sir Justin while we can. The episode was named Shining Knight, and we finally got a lot of backstory on this character that's kind of been in the shadows for most of the season. And I know you did a video last week about the Shining Knight, and you had quite a bit of information in there. How do you feel this version of the character is holding up compared to the comic book version? What are your thoughts on that?
I think in regards to the version that's presented in Stars and Stripes,
right? That's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
I think it's pretty bang on. Like the only difference is that like it's a slower burn with his memories. Like in the comic, he just sort of gets them. Like it just sort of like as a snap and he gets them.
Yeah.
But this, it's more of a slower burn. But I think the slower burn works better just storytelling wise, because then that comic books you actually don't have a lot of time to tell stories, especially when you're not the main, especially if you're not the main character.
Right.
You might get half an issue or something where they focus on you, or maybe an issue if you're lucky. But an issue of a comic book is like, God, is maybe like
21, 22 pages. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, in comparison to a TV show, like, if you get the focus, it can be one issue. But on a TV show, they're not going to give you that whole episode because they're not going to make one actor work that entire time.
Right.
So it would take like 3 episodes to get through one issue of storytelling.
Right, right.
So I think what they did on the show with him and slowing the burn is probably the smartest thing to do. I am intrigued to see if they spread him into season 2, though. Because the thing is, if Dragon King was his target and Dragon King dies or is defeated, one of the two, and he feels his mission's done, does he go? Because then you don't get to properly explore that story. But as long as we know who he was, and he was this person back then, he was from the time of Camelot and various things like that. But I'd be fine if they ended his story at the end of this season, but at the same time, I'd want to see more of him as well.
So let me ask you a question, and I'm wondering if the show is going to do this or if they're going to play off of this and do something different. So one of the questions that Beth and Rick had about him was they said, oh, he actually is from the past or whatever. And I don't think we ever got a clear answer about that. Do you think that he's a character who actually time traveled, or he's someone who just has these memories and is living the life of this character? Like, he got the sword, he has the memories, but he's not actually from that period. What do you think they're actually going to go with time travel on Stargirl? Because they can easily say that he just has the memories of him. Like, you know what I mean?
I think with the 7 soldiers, they'll do time travel because there's no way Pat's from the 40s and looks that way. Like, so there's going to be some sort of weird time travel thing going on there. With Shining Knight himself and how he got to present day, that's the big question, whether he was always from present day. Just had these, like, maybe when he picked up the sword or something, he got memories of, or there's like false personality and false identity. But obviously in the comics, he gets like frozen in ice, like Captain America style. So
was it truly time travel? It was just him getting... It
was like hibernation almost.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I'm just kind of curious because we know we don't have a speedster on the show right now. We know that djairrick was there, but we don't know how time travel actually works in this world. So I was just kind of curious if you thought they would introduce it or not.
I do wonder if the show's ever going to do anything like that. Like, we'll see how the 7 soldiers time traveled or got spread through time, or if they're just going to allude to an event. And maybe Pat it'd be interesting if they went, well, Pat knows he was from here, but he can't exactly remember why he's now here. But then the same thing can be said, why do you have the photo of the people? So it'll be, I don't think they're going to do anything with it this season, but I wouldn't mind if they have like a subplot where even Pat's trying to like track something down because they need information or something like that. Yeah,
that would be really good. I'm actually I'm not a huge fan of King Arthur and the Round Table. It's not something that I'm usually drawn to. There was a show that I saw on Netflix recently. I watched the first episode and I was like, no. I think it was Cursed is the name of it. It's about the Lady of the Lake and this retelling of the King Arthur story or whatever. And I immediately, as soon as I knew that's what it was, I turned it off. I was like, I don't want to watch this. But I love that that the show is doing a take on it where it's not so much a literal version of that. It's just a character who existed during that time period. I think that's more interesting. I just don't have any interest in a retelling of King Arthur and all of that. I just, it's not something that I care about. So. Yeah. So Laura says, is Mike going to find out next episode what's going on with his family? I think he will definitely find out by the end of the season. I don't know if it'll be next episode, but it is getting close to crunch time. Do you think Mike's going to find out next episode? Or do you think they'll wait till the finale?
I'd assume next episode, just because it looks like crap's going down. Okay. I don't know how he doesn't find out.
I needed some electrolytes, so
Gatorade.
Let's see. So Weather Girl Flash fan here says, I also kind of related to Mike in this episode because I've been left out of things in my family and I always feel like I did something wrong. I totally understood him. And I think this episode had a lot of relatable elements because this is the first time that the family has really addressed kind of the discombobulation of everything. You have the stuff going on with Pat and Courtney. You have the stuff going on with Courtney and her real dad. You have the stuff with Barbara and Courtney going on. You have the stuff with Mike and his dad going on. I mean, it was just, there was a lot of family stuff being handled in this episode. And for once, I didn't care that there wasn't really any action. And normally I complain about it, but I don't think that this episode really needed it, to be honest. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. Adam, why do you hate Adam Rodriguez? Why do you hate King Arthur stories? I just don't find them interesting. I watched a lot of movies back in the 80s that did a take on either Robin Hood or King Arthur, and I've just seen so many versions of it that I just really have no interest in it anymore. So I'm just, it's just trying to be edgy. Cam, I have an absentee father, so I really related to Courtney in this episode. So I talked about it a bit in my review that, I'm very similar to so many other people. I don't have a really great relationship with my father either. And he's still around. I mean, he doesn't live that far from here, but he just doesn't really have much to do with me. We just never really connected on that way. And so it did sort of feel kind of like my story, with him, because he did try to come back at one point and try to make things work when I was much younger, and then it just did not work out, and we really haven't spoken since then. So yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people probably related to that story in a sense. So Laura says Jeff Johns did great directing. I didn't even realize he directed this episode.
No, he wrote the episode, he didn't direct.
Oh, okay. All right.
But you could tell he had a lot of hand. He must have had a lot of references and stuff, because there's pretty much shot for shots from the comics. Mm-hmm. From this moment in the comics to this episode, especially the porch scene, It's pretty much shot for shot. But he wrote the episode, which explains why. I think he had to write this episode because I think it was too important of an episode for him not to write it. So
I actually like Etrigan. You guys are stretching it out way too far. I just don't like the mythos behind the King Arthur character. It's just I don't really find anything interesting about it. Just don't read too much into it.
You know what?
What?
You're going to have to review it.
Review what? What, that show? Cursed or whatever? Yeah. Chalk King with a $5 super chat. Do you think we'll get more episodes with Shining Knight in season 2? It would be really cool if we had an episode the staff explaining its origin. So I don't think we're going to get a staff explainer episode this season. Do you think we're going to get one?
Not this season. They could bring Ted Knight into next season if they wanted to.
Right.
Yeah,
it's too late in the season for them to do that. We may get some tidbits of it, but I don't think we're going to get a definitive answer on what it is. And as far as Shining Knight in season 2, we talked about that a little bit. It really just depends on what happens with Dragon King. So what else do we have in the episode? I've got my notes over here that I wanted to talk about. So the stuff with Icicle and Brainwave, Jordan finds out about the family and stuff like that, and he seems very apprehensive in doing anything to them, but Brainwave is very like set on doing something to them, and it takes them a while to sort of realize what's going on. And once he checks her browser history and sees that she's been looking up like, what happened with Starman, do you think that Jordan is aware that Courtney knows that he's Icicle and that she's already told her mother about him? Do you think that's why he was like, I go ahead and do it? Because he knows at this point there's really nothing he can say or do to sort of win her mother back over. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he'd have his. I think he would know to some degree that Courtney most likely knows that who he is.
Yeah. So that's why I was thinking when he went and saw the browser history, he would realize that there was no chance that anything was going to happen between them. Which, to be honest, I mean, why is that still showing up? To be honest, I'm really surprised that he didn't do it himself. You know what I mean? Like, I thought he's the type of character that just would go do it himself.
Just thinking to myself, he opens up the browser history. It says thong song reaction. Even Barbara wanted to see it.
Jesus. Oh, there, I said that word, and somebody's going to go in the comments and be like, don't use the I saw it twice. Don't use the Lord's name in vain. I was like, what are you talking about? In the comment section of the video. It's so funny. Every time I see that, I just kind of roll my eyes at it. I'm like, get a life. Let's see. Anything else outside of that we should talk about? The ending with the timer. Thought that was kind of interesting that we now have a countdown, which is going to be specifically for the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, under 13 hours.
Yeah. Do you think at this point that Brainwave Jr. is going to come back?
I think he's alive.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that Dragon King is going to like manipulate him and bring him like make him work for them or something?
Yeah, I think he's. Yeah, I think it'll probably be in the finale. They're going to reveal that. I don't think they'll do anything next week with it. It'll be interesting to see what and then that can be a storyline in season 2 is maybe because the thing he was technically a hero this season, so they could make him go bad because in the comics he was a hero and then sort of went bad for a bit.
Yeah.
So they could do that, and then there's we can have a bit of a flip on that because also Icicle Jr. is clearly going to be a thing. He sort of just disappeared from the show as well. I do wonder if he's had scenes and episodes that have been cut.
You mean Cameron?
Cameron, yeah. He's just sort of disappeared. But maybe he's in the last 2 episodes. I don't know. But in the comics, like he was good then bad. So,
okay.
So they could do that with him. Be interesting.
Let's see. Shane here with a $5 super chat. When it comes to the JSA 7 Soldiers Legacy or Infinity Inc. characters, do you want to see into next season? So I personally have been saying this forever. I would love to see the Alan Scott Green Lantern. That's just my take on it. I would love to see that character. I think he would work really good on the TV as a version of Green Lantern. That would be my number one. Anybody that you could think of that you would want to see?
Maybe Obsidian.
Okay.
Obsidian would be, but I think if you do Obsidian, you probably have to bring in Jade.
Yeah, probably.
But Obsidian would be interesting. It wouldn't be too hard of a character to do either. Yeah, they're probably Obsidian's probably the main one that I'm thinking of at the moment. And I guess in the same breath, I'd probably say Jade, but then I do want to see a speedster, and I think the only option is probably Jesse Chambers. It just matters what they do. I wouldn't mind if they make it that maybe Rick's dad's notebook has the formula. Like
that would be cool. Makes. Yeah, that would be cool.
And he's sort of wondering what this formula is, and then maybe like he can read it out and stuff, but it does nothing. But then there is this like a new girl comes to school. And it's Jesse Chambers. And the thing is, in the comics, Jesse Chambers and Rick get married. So they might be together sitting next to him in class, and she reads it out, and all of a sudden she's got speed. That'd really cool. They could do that. And it makes sense.
You're giving them storylines for next season.
Well, I don't think I have to give Jeff Johns storylines. I think he would. I think I'd be like,
what are you talking about? He's such a bad person.
That's like me teaching you how to chalk.
Yeah.
Honestly. Like that's... Yeah. Look, I'm not going to teach the math or anything, so I think Jeff Johns doesn't need my
Speaking
ideas.
of Chalk King with the $2 super chat, good thing Barbara wasn't thong songing in the episode. So whatever that means, it's apparently very edgy, as Vasily says here. Edgy. Let's see. We have another super chat. Oh, here we go. Gary, I'd wondered if you were going to stop in tonight, Gary. I don't think you stopped in last week. 49 super chat. Is the Flash getting delayed later than January, and do you think it will be the third week of January? Okay, so you're adding a little extra on there, so that's cool. Let's go ahead first in the chat section or in the comment section. You guys, let me know what your score is for this week's Stargirl. And if you have any more Stargirl questions, you can continue to super chat or ask them. But let me know what your score is from 1 to 10 for Stargirl. And we're going to talk about the Flash news while Gary's super chat is here. So there has been some information. I saw the article, what was like 5 days ago, about the start dates, the tentative late August production restart dates for Vancouver-based series. You did a video on it. We talked about it briefly. And Gary, based on this information, if it goes the way it's supposed to go, I don't think the Flash will be getting delayed. So you don't have to worry about that. I think it will definitely be out in January if production starts on schedule. Would you say that's correct, Paige?
Yep.
Okay. So we have the article here. It says Vancouver continues to be a bright spot for Hollywood studios hope to safely resume production. The situation remains fluid, but they're planning for a late August start for the Vancouver-based broadcast series. There's been a 30-day notice sent out to the actors, and they have to do a quarantine process before they can go back on set and film. So, and it sounds like, based on other stuff that I've read outside of Deadline, that they're doing something that people are calling bubble productions. Like a lot of people are going to be doing this, where if you are not directly involved with the production, you don't interact with anybody and you're tested a couple times a day while you're on set. So they're going to be doing all kinds of new things on set to try and make this work. So if that is the case, I think late August is a good estimate for their production starts. What do you think?
Yeah, well, seeing they got the 30-day notice recently, like production won't start till September because they have to be there by the end of August and then have to serve that 2 weeks. But yeah, like I think it's fine. Like people are already up there serving quarantine, getting ready for shows. I think I saw it on that, might have been that article. They said the Supernatural people are up there already or something.
So when they say when they said the Flash and Berlanti Productions, that's almost every show with except for the ones.
I'd say it's everyone except Supergirl.
Right. I was gonna say Supergirl's the one that we know is not starting in late August. So
yeah, so Legends would be in there, and Batwoman.
Chalk King throwing a little love. By the way, man, I love all you do and Paigey. So thank you. Thumbs up.
Dumps like a truck.
So yeah, that's basically, so this is the Flash news we want to talk about. I'm going to throw up the article here for a second while we chat about it, just so people can have something else to look at, I guess.
Instead of taint.
Yeah, instead of that. Yeah, instead of that. So I'm really excited to hear this because this means unless Canada
hold on.
What's that?
Diners, drive-ins, and dives, eh?
Yeah, of course. Why not? Why not? Unless Canada Graphs has some news and information because he's over there. It seems like Vancouver is doing pretty good in terms of their control of everything that's going on. So I think that's good news for pretty much anything that films in Vancouver right now. If you are a Vancouver show, if you can start your filming on schedule, I'm thinking that they're gonna do a lot of filming at very quick. I'm just wondering, because we know that the filming they can speed that up a little bit. A lot of the post-production stuff is going to be questionable. Like, can they get it done in time before the shows come out? Because I think the closest time with VFX and post-production is like the last 4 episodes of the season, because they're so close to the time that they film that they have to kind of like push them out.
They're like a month out.
I
think the finale is usually filmed about a month before it airs on TV.
Yeah. So let's see.
Actually, fun story about diners, drive-ins, and dives. When I was in America at the end of 2017, I had like I had like food poisoning. I don't know what I ate. It was something, some sort of weird American thing. Can't remember what I had. But I spent the entire day on the couch, and the Food Network had a marathon of that show.
And you watched it?
I just laid on. Well, I was asleep sometimes. I was on the entire day. And then my mates that I was with were just tuning in and watching it as well. I was like, God, this is a pretty good show. And we got an idea, and they did a California episode. And then in the last 4 days,
did you go to the restaurant?
We went to all these different restaurants that he went to. One was terrible. One was like literally a 2 out of 10. I was like, why? And he like raved about it. I was like, you're an idiot.
I actually love a lot of these shows. Like I've watched all the like the diners, drive-ins, dives, all of his different little shows that he does. He's kind of a staple for the Food Network. But then also I've watched a lot of like the Hell's Kitchens and the restaurant recovery.
Where's the lamb sauce?
So, right. And one thing I've noticed is a lot of times these places have like a little bit of time where they're really, really good, and then they just fall off the cliff. And it's like they're just bad after that. So I'm not surprised that what happens.
They made their names. They don't have to build it up with good quality.
Random question here from Laura that I saw this. I thought we should answer this one. Do you think that Titan season 3 will have a time jump since they're going to the Red Hood storyline? What do you think? I mean, I don't know what Titans is doing, to be honest. Last season felt like it was a snail's pace in terms of their storyline.
I think the guy who's the showrunner for Titans has no real idea how to story tell. And he just sort of just goes, okay, we're going to do this fan service thing, and that's it. Let's just hope we get viewers because of that.
Right.
Like they did Deathstroke, put him in the show, made him look cool, did nothing with him. I couldn't believe it. What a waste. And people say that was a better version of Deathstroke. I'm like, God, at least the Arrow one had 2 seasons worth of story. That one had about like 1 episode where they did, and it wasn't even that amazing.
Right.
Yeah. Like, right. And they just do like, they need a new showrunner. I don't think the showrunner is going to save them, like from anything. I don't think he's a very good showrunner. I mean, I think he must be someone that's tied in with Warner Brothers. I'd have to say he's probably someone that's worked with Warner Brothers for a while. Because who's that guy? Scott Buck.
Oh, the one that did the Inhumans. Yeah.
And Iron Fist. He reminds me of him. Like someone who just doesn't really have a good grasp on the characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they've got really good actors. Like Titans probably has the best actors in regards to main roles for any of those DC Universe shows, I think. Even better than Doom Patrol, I think. And they stuff it up. I don't know how. Like, they don't use Anna Diop at all. She's probably the best actress on there.
Yeah.
Name one memorable Starfire thing.
The controversy about her haircut? I mean,
that's what like. I can't remember one memorable Starfire thing, and they've got probably the best actress. She's probably the best actress in.
I actually, and honestly, in season 1, I loved that storyline. I thought it was an interesting storyline. But you're right; it doesn't have a lot of like.
Yeah, like the thing is that like I think everyone looked at the hair when she was on there. It's like, well, that's weird. But literally, episode 1 explains it. So you move on from that because episode 1 explains.
But there was so much controversy around that before the season even started.
Yeah,
about the
I think the people that still go on about the hair now, I'm like, did you not watch episode 1? It clearly explains why she was looking like that.
Yeah,
I think the issue is like she kept looking like that the entire season, like when she left that phone. But I was like, whatever. Yeah. But they waste her. And then like Brenton Thwaites, who plays Nightwing, is good, or Dick Grayson, but he probably gets the most in regards to that. But then they waste a lot of people as well. I need to fix it.
Yeah, Tom here with the $2.99 super chat, also a member of Team Airrick. Thank you so much, Tom. Your thoughts on Justice Con, San Diego Comic-Con, and the Snyder Cut clip. So Justice Con, don't really have much thoughts on it at all. I didn't even really watch it, to be honest. If there was anything interesting that popped up, I would click on it. But
the way I would explain Justice Con is Zack Snyder used Grace Randolph to bait everyone in to watch it and show us a clip we already saw. That's pretty much what it is. Like if you watch all the other, like the thing is that they raised money for the suicide awareness or the suicide fund, which is great. But outside of that, I think you'd have to be a Snyder Cut person, like fully Snyder Cut, and have been within that
right.
What do you call it? Movement, probably, to where I've enjoyed it. I tuned in, and it was. I'm not gonna see it a lot. Like I thought it was boring, and then I thought I wasted my time because the clip was just something we'd already seen but recolored. It wasn't anything new.
Yeah, I think I said to you that I don't remember my exact wording, but I'm just like, any person that does VFX clips on the internet could do that.
Someone's already done it. It's been done before.
Yeah, so I didn't think there was some big, huge revelation about it. I'm like, okay, I've seen a clip where somebody decolorized the suit before. So,
and then there was all those like the comicbook.coms, and like Snyder said, "Oh yeah, it's my footage. I'm using my footage." It's like, well, no shit. It's your director's cut. Why would you use someone else's footage?
Yeah, exactly.
He has an assembly cut. Of course, it's going to be his footage, and he's filming more. So of course, it's going to be his. And then it was like, what was the other one? He didn't choose Joss Whedon. I'm like, of course he didn't.
That's not his job.
It's not his job.
Right.
Yeah. He can maybe request it, but they're not going to listen. They're going to choose someone who they think can get the job done.
Yeah.
Who could have got something to put in cinemas in this short amount of time. Like, it was a really and it's not the convention's fault. Like the people that hosted it. It was really the aftermath. The people that post about it and make a big deal. I'm like, none of that was new. I think even he was sort of like, this isn't new, but I'll repeat news? I'll repeat myself, but it's not. I've already said this before.
This is an interesting comment here about the Flash. It goes, I think the villain of the weeks would be hard to do with the whole way they're going to do filming right now. I mean, basically, if you are coming in to film for a episode, you have to be there for 2 weeks before you can go on set, or you have to live locally. So I expect a lot of people that they're going to be hiring to do any kind of stuff are going to be people very local to production, probably.
Yeah, they won't be getting anyone unless it's like pivotal to the story. Like they need someone to be there for that period.
Think Noodle here was talking a bit about that. What did you think about Ray going at Josh and other people again, and Zach saying he'd rather destroy his film than use any of Joss's footage? So from what I'm under the impression that he's going to have to use some of Joss's footage to make the movie. Right? I mean, something is going to come from that theatrical cut, obviously.
Well, someone's probably going to break it down to the point where it's like that's from Joss's movie or something. But
I mean, I heard him say it, but from what people have been saying about it, is it's going to be really difficult to do that without some of that footage, because a lot of the original footage and that footage are very similar. So
one thing that was brought up, which I don't think will happen based off everything else, it seems they'll have enough time to get it done. But it's if COVID prevented them from actually getting the additional filming done in time,
right?
They would have to use. He'd be forced to,
right?
He'd be forced to. But I'd assume they'd probably have enough time by now, seeing stuff's getting back to filming. But who knows when the Snyder Cut's coming out? I think they're probably going to announce it at Fandom. But and actually, this brings up another thing. There's been a debate about whether it should be a film or a series. I don't really care which one it is because it's on streaming. You just pause it and go away. If you get, you just want to stop.
I've always wondered, like, why make it a 10-hour long episode? Just make it a 10-hour episode. Like, why do it that way? But
like, my thing is like, I think Snyder probably himself and HBO Max would prefer a series to make it go over, let's just say 4 weeks, a month, because next year is going to be so clogged with stuff coming out. It'll lose all relevancy.
Let's make this very clear, guys. From the beginning of next year till the end, it's going to be almost no week without something new coming out. It's going to be very much that.
Like, if it's not a series, it loses relevancy very, very quickly. It needs to be a series so it's at least relevant for a month where people are talking about it. Otherwise, it will just... And people can deny this, but it's just true. You see it with movies all the time.
This is a conversation for another time, but I want to bring this up. Some of the I guess fear that people have had about shows that are doing like a binge thing, like where they put everything up at once, is they don't have longevity. Like once you binge it and you watch it, you walk away from it, and then it's like a year before anybody talks about it again. Whereas if you have shows where even if they're available on streaming, they do a week-to-week release, the first round of it, you have to wait each week. If you choose to wait to the end to binge it, that's fine. But still, if you release it weekly, it's more buzz, it's more press, it's more advertising. Whereas if everything comes out at once, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they're going to try and change that a bit next year with streaming services.
I think HBO Max, I think personally be pushing for a series, but Zack Snyder, I could probably see him probably wanting it to be a film, but then he might be thinking at the same time of the whole relevancy thing. Like it will, like as I said, people can deny it, but it's just a fact, especially if it comes out this time next year. Like really, if you come out this time next year, I think this is the most clogged time next year. There's all these movies come out. Like I think if you look at the calendar, it's just like a ridiculous.
It's the blockbuster. This is literally in the middle of the U.S. summer. So
yeah. So even if it came out like anywhere like April, May, or anything like that, it'd still be in the same position.
Right.
So if it is just a movie, as I said, it will just lose relevancy quickly, especially if it isn't picked up by international broadcasters and it's just available on HBO Max.
Right.
Like no one's going to care about it,
right?
In a massive way, I know,
right? Because it's going to be so locked off from everybody else. So it's not going to get the
they haven't even I'm sure they would never announce it now, but it'll be interesting to see when they announce where it's going to be on certain things, or even if they make it that it is available in cinemas in other countries. If it's a movie, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, because technically it's acquired by HBO Max, but that's just in America because that's the only country that service exists.
Yeah, and also I think I saw today. I probably should have the article up, but I didn't think about it. They were saying that I think Universal and another studio struck a deal with AMC so that they can do VODs 3 weeks after they come out in theaters, and this is definitely. Because next year there's going to be so much out in theaters, they have to make up the money somewhere else.
Oh yeah, so you're not going to have that. You're not going to have that 6 week window where there's not much coming out. You're only going to get maybe 2 weeks where you don't have a competing genre film, whether it's Suicide Squad comes out and then Morbius or something.
Right. So you want to be able to say, look, we've had 2 weeks of sales. Now we're going to put it out on streaming for $20 a pop. They're going to try and recoup that money. That's really the only way this is going to work next year. It's the only way it's going to work. So I'm glad they reached that. As far as the Ray and Joss stuff, so we talked about this 2 days ago, and I knew it was going to come up tonight, so I didn't even put it in the info section or whatever. So one of the things that Ray keeps doing is he keeps goading Joss to say something. At least twice in the last week, he's made statements or comments, sort of hoping to get a response. Here's the thing, people. If you're accepting that Ray is under an NDA and he can't speak about anything, specifics or anything like that, then that means Joss would be under that same NDA. So he's not going to respond to these pokes because he can't do the same thing that Ray can't do. And Ray knows that. So if there is, in fact, something that happened that's covered by that NDA, Joss is not going to respond. He's not going to. And I still don't think he cares, to be completely honest. So it's a combination of I don't care and I can't say anything, so I'm not going to. So I'm not sure why Ray keeps pushing at Joss, because of the fact that if he is under NDA, Ray would know that. Do you have any thoughts on that? I mean, that's honestly...
I think I've said this to you before. I don't understand why he's going after Joss, because Joss has nothing going at the moment. The thing that, and I saw people talking about this online, is that his true target is probably Jeff Johns, and John Berg, but mainly Jeff Johns, because Jeff Johns has a lot going for him, and he's in a position of power. He'd be making a good amount of money. So because Joss Whedon, he's got an HBO show that's in the bag and that's going to be coming out, but outside of that, Joss is like, okay, whatever, I've made enough money, I'll just stop. I don't see why Joss would be such a big target now. Why not do it? If anything, if he did it a year ago, he would have stopped his show from being made.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, so a lot of people say, oh, he's doing it for attention, this, that, and the other. I don't really care. I don't care why he's doing it. I just feel like, so this is, how am I going to word this without making it sound like I want to jump in all the drama? Because I really don't want to. But if he in fact has stuff that he's working on behind the scenes to go after Joss, why did he say something a month and a half, 2 months before all the ducks are in a row, as he says? What was the point of that? Again, you're saying Joss doesn't have anything going on. So you're really not, if you're trying to hurt his business or some project that he's working on, then that's not working either. And if you have I just don't know. I don't know what to say. I just don't know where it goes. Jenna says we're against Ray. I'm not against Ray.
Oh no, I'm not against him. I just don't know.
I'm not saying that he's lying. I'm not saying that he's making it up. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm trying to figure out why everything is happening the way it's happening. There could, in fact, be something serious going on behind the scenes. And if it does, I hope that it comes out. But I just don't understand why somebody under an NDA would be goading someone else under an NDA when he knows that he can't respond to it.
Yeah, the thing is that I think if it gets to the point where it's just there's so much that's vague around it, and I know it sounds bad, but people will just stop caring about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you just be like, you're like, I think Canada guys, like, people just get exhausted by it, and everyone would just, and then if like, let's just say,
right,
9 months down the track, it comes out, it's like, okay, well, that story's ended.
Yeah,
Joss Whedon got fired, then, or Joss Whedon lost whatever it is he had. I don't know, because I don't know what his situation is with Warner Brothers at the moment. Maybe Ray knows that, because that's what I thought when it came out. He started talking about it. It was like, well, he must know that Joss Whedon has something lined up, and he's like, well, how can like he keep getting work when he was doing this and stuff, like on that set? That's what I was thinking. But from what I can look up and stuff, like Joss Whedon doesn't really have a major connection to Warner Brothers.
Right.
Like he was more of a Fox. I think he was a Fox dude. I think it was on Fox.
Right. But I will say this because several people out here are it looks like it's kind of a few people are kind of confused in the chat or whatever. No one is coming, as far as the production goes, anybody who worked on set, unless I have not seen it, none of the major actors that worked on set have come up and said that they, at least as far as I know, that they've corroborated Ray's story.
Well, that was the thing that I saw it on Twitter. It was, I can't remember the guy's name, but he's like writing a book about the Snyder Cut and like the process of it. And he was, I can't remember if like the tweet was meant to be like having a go at him or something, but he was saying that I'm paraphrasing here, but it was like that he's unsure about the situation because no one has liked any of his Instagram posts, anything like that. Like he's liking Jason Momoa's Instagram post, but Jason Momoa hasn't liked any. Like there's a disconnect whether he's actually got back in there, because it's also important. And this is the big thing as well. And it's not necessarily what they think, it's just them protecting their careers. And at the end of the day, if they probably, I don't want to say if they didn't care, but if they care more about their careers, they're going to protect their careers. Jason Momoa is not going to put his neck on the line if it means he cuts his ties with Warner Brothers, which obviously, he's Aquaman, he's got all these,
and he just signed on to do the Frosty the Snowman movie. So
yeah, I don't understand. That was like I don't know, because I think people saying that was fake, but who reported that? I think it was Hollywood Reporter. Yeah,
if it was fake, it doesn't matter. He's still Aquaman, and he's still got a trilogy going on.
That's the thing. Really when it comes down to it, they probably will,
right?
Because I don't think they could post anything in anonymity.
Yeah. So before we go any further in this, because it is an exhausting topic, and I realize people like drama, and I get it. But the thing is that if no one is going to back Ray up, if nobody on production is going to back him up, then one of two things is going on. Either one, Ray has some really crappy friends in the industry who don't care about the fact that he has some real serious issues that happen, and they're not going to back him up. That's either one. Or two, whatever happened wasn't really that big of a deal, and nobody is willing to go to bat for something that he took offensively that no one else seemed to be bothered by. That's the two things that happened. I mean,
yeah, and the other big issue is, and I think this is probably the main thing people brought up when it's the rest of the cast, if they don't back him up, if they don't back up what he's saying and stuff, does that mean they're being complicit with the studio and how he was treated?
Yeah. So if something really did happen and they're not saying anything, they're going to look horrible. You guys have to remember, if this is truly something that happened and it goes to court and everything is proven to be true, then everyone who has not backed him up, they're going to look really bad. Everybody on set with him is going to look really bad. It doesn't matter who they are. They're all going to be wrapped up as being people that were complicit with it. So
that's why it's a sticky situation, and it would come down to the thing. It was like, well, what are they like? Are they going to care more about their careers? And like they've got all these contracts and stuff. So I don't even know like how it's going to work. Like I think it could eventually come out, and also the big question is like, what was the situation? Because was it a racist thing, or was it just like verbally abusing, like
because from what I've seen online, and again this is all like speculation, is Joe Smyjon Jr. We're talking about the Ray Fisher and Joss Whedon stuff. As far as I can tell, it seems like he was just hard to work with, but I mean,
it's been known.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see how that's a big issue, but we'll see. Let's move on, you guys. If you have any more questions about it, drop it down below. I'm trying to get away from this or whatever. Gary Gamble with the 299 super chat. So what's going on with Supergirl production on Twitter? I guess you're talking about the interview with Jesse Rath, who said that they should be returning to filming. When do they say? Late September sometime?
He said he said September 28th, but
okay.
That could just be a date that they've been given at the moment.
Yeah, so that's where they're looking to. It's not really any production. I guess it's not supposed to be bad. You say going on, I guess you're just curious about it. But thank you for the super chat. Lone Wolf here. Most intimidating, Dragon King, Icicle, or Brainwave. So so I'm not intimidated at all by Dragon King. I think he is a horrible person, but I mean, he doesn't seem to be that threatening in a physical way. I mean, just throwing that out there. He could be badass. I don't know. Icicle, I'm pretty afraid of because he's pretty hardcore. But Brainwave can just look at you and cause you to die. So I think that's a bit more scary. I would probably be more intimidated by Brainwave. You have any thoughts on that at all?
Yeah, I'd probably say Brainwave when you're chucking the powers.
He's about to be super OP in a second, just so you guys know. So here we go. Let's talk about this cut. We haven't even talked about this. This is going to be a fun topic. So now we have a hashtag release the Schumacher cut.
Oh God.
So we have that going on. To move over to something fun here. So if you guys are not familiar, apparently there is a darker, longer Batman Forever cut from the catalog of Joel Schumacher that has a lot of extra scenes. It's a lot more gritty and darker than anything that we've seen thus far from that Batman universe, even more than the Tim Burton stuff. Before I give my opinion on this, what are your thoughts on these hashtag release the cut movements? Like, what do you think about these right now?
I think people just think because the Snyder Cut one worked that it means everyone's going to work. I think people need to realize, everyone that's doing these cut things, is that the Snyder Cut was like it was a blue moon. It was just a once in a blue moon situation where everything, honestly, I think you lose, like all the ducks lined up in a row and stars aligned for it. Like, it's the thing is that the cut is completely like what we're getting with Snyder Cut. There was just a massive movement behind it. It was years in advance or years in the working and stuff. It's a once in a lifetime thing with that, where things just lined up perfectly. Like, and there was the obvious like disgruntlement that it wasn't Snyder's version and everything like that. Like with the Ayer cut, for example, David Ayer, we've talked about this in like DMs and stuff like that. Yeah. Ayer went around and like preached that this was his movie. Like the Ayer, what we saw was his movie. And it doesn't help with Ayer either that he's pretty much just revealed what's different. And he's also he's misled people as well. He's falsely advertised it. Like Steppenwolf isn't in this quote unquote Ayer cut. That was in concept.
Right.
That was in concept.
It was never filmed. It was never even put in the script. It was a conceptual story that didn't happen.
The biggest change with it is the Joker stuff. And the thing is that everyone apparently hated Jared Leto's Joker, so why does everyone love it all of a sudden?
Right.
It's so confusing to me. Like,
yeah. Let's see. Jenna says, you DC fanboys really make yourself look bad right now. Say you want about Kitty Mouse Marvel, but none of their fanboys asking for an Amazing Spider-Man 3. I think you're talking about the people asking for the cut. Yeah, I definitely think it's just so ridiculous. So the release the cut stuff, right? If that's what it truly was with the Zack Snyder thing, there was a belief that the Zack Snyder film universe could survive through the cut, basically. That's what they wanted. There's no way that this will ever lead to something else. The only way this could ever happen would be honestly like VOD or something like that. You know what I mean? And it would have to be already put together because clearly the director himself is not going to put this film together. So it would have to be already put together and already basically set to go out. And, I don't know. I don't want to say about this, about the David Ayer stuff. You don't get a do-over for every bad movie. There's no, like, you can't go to the studio every time there's a bad movie and go like release the Trank cut for Fantastic Four, release all these different cuts for these films because they were bad. That's not what studios do. Zack Snyder is such an isolated incident. It is like a once, like you said, it's like all the ducks lined up, all the stars were aligned. It was a once in a lifetime thing. Like, I don't see studios going to bat like this for every movie that was quote unquote poorly received or bad. Yeah, it's, I just, people in the chat are agreeing too. I think all this cut movement and stuff like that, like, find something more fun to do with your time, I guess.
That's the way to, I think, like, it's just, there's too much time on people's hands.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's probably the best way to put it. Like, and the thing is that, can you release the Ayer cut? I think that's why there's probably a big hesitation for the Ayer cut as well, is because you got the Suicide Squad coming out, which is pretty much not like, I don't want to say it's a reboot, but it's definitely a soft reboot. They're probably not going to fully, from what it sounds like, they're not going to fully embrace what happened in the first Suicide Squad. Yeah. Hence, probably why this movie isn't called Suicide Squad 2. It's called The Suicide Squad. Yeah. So I just wish, and there's just going to be this massive divide in DC going forward. And I can tell, like, even like when the Snyder comes out, it's going to be released a Snyder Cut Part 2. Because that, like, what we're getting in the Snyder Cut isn't going to be what was planned. It's going to be a compensation almost.
Yeah.
Like,
so I'm totally okay with the whole Snyder Cut thing. I mean, there's some people that hate it or whatever. I think it's great. We'll get to see a different version of this film. Hopefully it's worth the wait and that everybody loves it. I mean, if you petition for it and you spent 3.5 years doing it, and you finally get it, then I hope it's good. You know what I mean? That's the way I feel about it, 100%. But, you know, as far as like the Ayer cut getting over 100K retweets or whatever, I just don't. Does anybody really want to see an extra 15 minutes in Suicide Squad? Because that's ultimately what it is. Because it can't be anything else. Nothing else was filmed. The script had to be done in a month, and they filmed from basically the time the script got done to what was it? Like, they were still doing re-edits up until like a week before the movie came out. So there's just not a lot there, honestly. I think he said when the movie came out, there was definitely about 15 minutes of footage that was not used, mostly relating to the Joker character. If you want to do that, release that. That's good. But I don't think there's any reason to go back and recut the movie. So,
and the issue will always stem back to the fact that Snyder was there was all this campaign, if you want to call it, for the Snyder Cut pretty much before the theatrical Justice League movie came out.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily. I don't think the release of Snyder Cut thing happened before the movie came out. I think as soon as it did, that's where it started.
Right.
When did the Ayer cut start? Like 2 months ago, 3 months ago?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he claimed it was his movie. He defended his movie. So you can't defend it.
I sent you an article where he went on the defense for that movie. Like, months after it came out.
Like, you can't sit there and defend the movie for, when did it come out? 2016?
Yeah.
So almost 4 years, or let's just say 3.5. And then all of a sudden turn because the Snyder Cut got announced.
You know, and this is the scary thing about it, I think, when it comes to like the point of these studios and the directors, is if the movie would have been a hit, he would have never, ever complained about having another version of the movie.
Yeah. It's the same thing if Justice League made $1 billion. We wouldn't get the Snyder Cut.
Yeah. So this whole Schumacher Cut thing is just a long list of...
And also, just a quick thing on that. I've seen people say that the reason that Justice League didn't make $1 billion in the theaters was because of what it was. I'm like, no, it's because of what came before.
Right.
Like, people that dumb. Anyway.
So Gary Gammon with a 199 super chat. Do you like Stargirl better or The Flash? The Flash. I mean, The Flash will always be my favorite show. You know, I love Stargirl, but you know, I really, really, really love The Flash. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes from here. As far as I can tell, I'm Team Flash still, but I don't think there's very much to talk about. We could briefly talk about Umbrella Academy, I guess, season 2. You didn't finish season 1, right?
No, I'm not I just think other things do it better. The season 2 looks interesting because of the time travel, so it sort of makes me want to finish season 1. But like, even the guy that made Umbrella Academy literally said he copied it off Doom Patrol.
Yeah. So the thing is,
not the show, the comic, but yeah.
Here on this is from CBR.com, one of my least favorite sites. It says Umbrella Academy season 2 soaring to near perfect Rotten Tomatoes score. One of the things I see here is where is it at? A common consensus across reviews for the second season is that it improves upon its predecessor by largely ditching its darker tone and themes in favor on focusing on more bright colors, fun, and the freewheeling potential of its central premise and cast as they travel back to 1963. So it's literally the kind of show I will probably hate. Thank you so much, Umbrella Academy. I really love the first season. What's wrong with the dark tone? Ladies and gentlemen, can someone please tell me what is wrong with a show that has a darker tone? Why is this a problem? Why does everything have to be Legends of Tomorrow 2.0? I don't understand this. Can someone please explain this to me? Why does everything have to be Legends 2.0?
Why not, Eric? Why not?
I have no answer. That's why I'm asking. Well, yeah, Canada Graphs. I don't think it's equals better ratings. I think it's just bigger. Well, yeah, I guess a bigger market, but Umbrella Academy is not. It's a mature show anyway, right? I would say. So I don't think that's really the reason why. I mean, maybe it is. I don't know. Not everything has to be that way. It's not all lollipops and candy. We can't think about the thong song every week. Okay.
I think I'm similar to Everett. I think I got about 4 episodes in. I think about 3 or 4 episodes in. I just couldn't connect with it. I didn't find any of the characters likable either.
Yeah.
Like none of them are likable.
You know, so I will say, just like Doom Patrol, Umbrella Academy is a niche show. Either you get it or you don't get it. And you're either going to like it or you don't like it. And that's just the way it is. But let's see. Stagger 4 here with 1-9 super chat. Any thoughts on the Spider-Man delay? The same as all the delays. I mean, it doesn't really faze me anymore. I pretty much realized that everything we get this year is either going to be stuff that was filmed and just didn't make the cut. And they're just going to throw it on streaming services before the end of the year. We won't see anything exciting until probably January of 2021 or sometime around December, because I know that Tenet is still trying to release. So there's that. But I don't think anything else exciting. I mean, if you were to tell me that everything, just release a press thing and say everything's been delayed. I mean, that's pretty much the way it is. That's what Comic-Con kind of was. It was just a, everything is delayed kind of event. So Shane, also like the darker tones. That was what made the show for me. I know if it ends up being just like Legends, I'm just not going to be into it at all. I'm just going to say. Here we go. This is interesting. Haas 18. Hey, Eric and Paigey, are you okay with the idea that the Arrow spinoff does not happen? Then put one Canary on Batwoman and the other on Legends. I don't know about that. I don't know if I'd want, if you're going to put a Canary on Legends, make it Juliana Hargreavy. I would not want Laurel Lance's character on Legends. I mean, I guess it could be interesting with her sister being on there, but I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know what to do with those characters. I love the idea of the Canaries working together. I never really liked the Mia Smoke version of Green Arrow, so I just don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
If Canaries doesn't go ahead, then I just that's the end of their characters. I wouldn't force them onto another show or shows.
Tom, thoughts of the Haley casting in Hawkeye? I'll be honest with you, I'm not thinking much about that show.
I mean, I like Haley Steinfeld. I'm not familiar with Kate Bishop and Hawkeye in general.
Yeah. I think they're going for a young Avengers kind of, so that's why they're doing this.
Yeah,
and that's fine, but I just don't know.
I think she's a good actress, so I'm sure she'll do it. I just don't know I don't know about the character enough to know if it's a good match.
Let me just
I'd assume it is because people like the casting.
When you have a show like Arrow that handled a character with a bow and arrow the way they did, I just don't know if a show about another character with a bow and arrow is going to grab me. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, that's the difference. It's always going to be the comparisons. Is it better than Arrow?
Yeah.
And the thing is, if Arrow was able to be better than it with a much lower budget, then you know what I mean? There's always going to be... I think we can assume that Haley Steinfeld will be better than Mia Smoke, though. I think that's not going to be too much of a prediction.
Let's see. Zoko, no, I've not seen... I have seen the Breaking Bad movie, but I haven't watched any of the shows or Better Call Saul, so... Staggervorth, the 199 super chat, the dark tone made Arrow unique. It did, and I think Arrow sort of went away from it for a season, and then it came back to it again. I I like mature dark shows. I mean, that's what I love. I love the mature cinematic feel that it brings. I don't think everything has to be silly. I think it's sort of a cop out sometimes. That's just my opinion. I don't know. Chalk King, will you review Falcon and Winter Soldier if it's weekly? Yes, I will. I will only consider reviewing shows if they're a weekly release. I will not do a episode by episode review of something if it all drops at the same time. I tried that before. It does not work. So nobody's going to stop after one episode and come watch my review.
Well, it seems that, like, especially during hashtag Corona, that things are going to, like, Boys. I can't believe Boys is dropping weekly.
Oh, is it?
So, yeah, it's similar to Doom Patrol. First 3 episodes, then weekly.
Oh,
I think it's just because they don't have stuff to release. So
yeah,
because I that's the only show like that's like 50 minutes an episode that I think I binged really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Usually I watch 3 a day.
Yeah,
if I can be bothered watching. I think I watched pretty much that entire season within 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like. That was just a really easy show to binge.
Yes, Tom. I will do a review of the whole season at the end, but I won't do it weekly. So Arkham says, just like everyone saw Thor Ragnarok and Guardians of the Galaxy change their tone. So here's the thing: Guardians didn't change their tone; they were silly from the beginning. So I don't really have a problem with that. And let's be honest here: Thor Ragnarok was the best of the Thor movies, easily, and it's because of the fact that they kind of understood how to handle that character. But there are some Marvel comedy movies that I didn't really like. I didn't totally like the tone of the Ant-Man movies. I think they were okay. They were a little bit off because they were a bit like the giant ant playing the drums. Yeah, wasn't my thing. So I don't think it always works, but I think those 2 examples are kind of good in terms of like funny tonal changes. And I like some of it. I think Legends at times has stuff that I do enjoy. It's just I have a limit on how much I'm willing to put up with, and some of the shows cross that limit all the time. So, Growly Bear with a hot take here. You'll enjoy this one. Catherine McNamara was just a pretty face casting. All her scenes were quick cut, snappy lines. Ouch.
I think I mentioned that in a good old after party.
I think you probably did back when it was on.
Yeah.
So. There's a Witcher spinoff series.
I was definitely thinking it.
There's a Witcher series spinoff picked up. I mean, okay.
God. I haven't watched The Witcher because I know I won't like it.
Without getting attacked with pitchforks and fire here, I did not like the first half of the first season. I think it got much better towards the end. There was a lot of directorial stuff in the first half of Witcher that reminded me of the Inhumans. So
in Hawaii?
No, it was just the directing. Okay, so the production value of the episodes in the first half look much cheaper than they do in the back half, because the first half seems like they take place on a lot of sound stages. So there's a lot of scenes in buildings and things like that. The back half of it was a lot of outdoor shots. So it looked like a more expensive show. So I think it got better in the back half of the season. Like the first maybe 3 or 4 episodes are kind of tough, but then it gets good in the back. I just think the directing of it was very cheap. The production, the sets, it just didn't look very high quality. And then it got better towards the end. So that's just my thoughts. Let's see. Witcher was fun. No need to like it. Okay. Chalk is excited. The boys are greenlit for season 3 already. The Inhumans comparison is a low blow. Well, I mean, I don't know what else to compare it to. Like, there's a certain level of quality in the production when you look at something, camera quality, directing. If something doesn't look well done in the beginning, I'm gonna call it out on it. So I just,
if you're looking for if you don't have any shows to watch and you're missing good entertainment, I'd suggest going back and watching Eric's Inhumans reviews.
They were painful. There's a couple in the middle where I'm just defeated. Like, you could hear it in my voice. I'm just like, I basically committed to watching that whole horrible series. It was bad. Shane, do we need a prequel series for The Witcher? I don't know. Do we? Maybe.
My favorite story arc in that series called Eric's Humans Reviews is his confusion about Black Bolt and how people can understand him.
That was so bad. I just don't.
Don't you think it's funny that that guy got paid lots of money to just stare?
Yes, and he did an interview, and I think it was funny. Like right before the series was released, they did an interview, and he's actually a really good actor. But they did an interview.
He was in that Western show, Hell on Wheels, I think it was.
Yeah. He actually was on. Yes, Shane, the Pike actor was on Inhumans. He played Pike on Star Trek Discovery, which was actually one of the best parts of that season 2. So he's done some really good stuff. It's just like he said that there's an interview. I wish I could find it. It's hilarious though. But he was saying how difficult it was for him to do his job. And I'm like, as soon as I knew Black Bolt was going to be the main character, I'm like, this is going to be bad, because how does that make sense in a TV show with a character that doesn't talk? So yeah. I
highly recommend that series.
Zoko says it's weird you watched El Camino before Breaking Bad. So something that people kind of, and I heard a little bit of this last week, like I don't watch everything. I have certain things that I'm interested in. I will literally fall asleep to stuff that I don't like. Like I will fall asleep to it. So if it's something that I read the description and I might watch the first episode or something, if it doesn't grab me, then I'm just not into it. It doesn't, like, if everybody thinks it's a great show, that's fine. It doesn't mean that I'm going to like it. I mean, Paigey probably likes a bunch of stuff that I hate and vice versa. So
what's a show that I like that you'll hate? I watched, what was it called? Very Scary People, hosted by good old Donnie Wahlberg.
I probably wouldn't watch that.
Yeah, it's pretty much they focus on a very scary person. They all have 2-parters. First 2 episodes, good old Charlie Manson. I'll tell you what was an interesting couple of episodes. Good old Jim Jones, Jonestown.
That's a little bit too dark for me, I think, and I like dark stuff.
If you want to watch that, definitely give the old Jim Jones episodes a go, because I was like, what the hell is going on here? I thought Charles Manson would be the next level one. Jim Jones went, look at my weird glasses.
I don't even know what is that on Netflix or something? I don't even know where you would watch it.
It's on a streaming service over here called Binge, which it just has a lot of crap. And I just saw Donnie Wahlberg's head, and I'm like, why are you on here? And very scary. It looked like a cheap thing, but it was actually extremely interesting. Yeah. Jim Jones.
So Haas here says it wanted to
shouldn't laugh because it's completely messed up. But anyway,
have we watched Fringe? Yes, I love Fringe. I love the idea of a multiple Earth story, and so having a mirror world was very cool. So I wish they would have done more with it, but the show got prematurely canceled. So, but I thought it was really good. What did you think of Fringe? Did you watch it at all?
I've never watched it.
You should watch it. I think you'll like it.
No,
you know what it's about, right?
I don't have enough time. There's so much, especially. Do you get that thing?
No time. You have nothing but time. You can watch.
No, but like the thing is, because I got all this other crap I want to watch. Even though technically I'm rewatching a lot of crap. But have you ever gone onto like Netflix or whatever, and you go, "Oh, there's nothing to watch," and there's literally 100 things on there?
No, there is. I've done that before. I'm guilty of that. So
yeah, I don't know. I got like 3 series I want to start watching, and I can't. Like I want to watch them, but I don't really want to watch them. I have to I really want to watch Stargirl every week. So as soon as I can watch it, I watch it. But that's like the only thing I look forward to every week that I really, really want to watch is Stargirl. And everything else is like, oh, I might watch it.
I think there's a show on Netflix that you and I should go on with Ben, like the 3 of us. And it's called The Floor is Lava. We should definitely
I saw that advertised on Netflix.
We should go on that together, the 3 of us, and we could totally dab and floss all the way across to the end. And we would probably win. I think it's like $10,000 or something US. So we should do that. The Floor is Lava with the content creators, because they come up with
floss is a chalk.
The chalk, yeah. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap this up. I saw one question right here from Tom. It says, thoughts on Jesse saying there'll be a Legion-esque storyline in season 6 of Supergirl. I don't believe them.
And
I don't believe them.
And hold on, let me check the watch.
Yeah.
I couldn't really care a clock.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that they keep promising these future storylines with Legion characters, and we don't really get them. So it's fine. I just don't believe him. I think he's talking falsehoods, not intentionally. But yeah.
Dancing in the moonlight.
So yeah.
Well, that's a teaser for next week's diss track wrap off sing off.
I don't. Is that that's the teaser for it? Yeah, probably. All right, it's time for dad jokes. I have 2 in front of me. Wait, before we do dad jokes, I did want to tell you guys, we talked about this earlier and I thought I would mention it before that wraps up because I totally forgot to mention it earlier. So because of hashtag corona, my corona, I am once again doing YouTube full time. I will not have a job as of Friday of this week for the foreseeable future. So I'm going to be trying to put out double the content that I'm making now. So like the 4 videos a week that I do, it's probably going to be more like 8 videos. And I'm also going to be making videos for the Team Airrick feature. So if you guys want to help support me so I can continue to make videos, look into that Team Airrick thing, see if it's okay with you guys. I know times are tight. If you can't do it, that's fine. But check it out. There's going to be more exclusive stuff up there. There's going to be reactions, things like that. It's just this little pocket of my state. It's just this little pocket of my state. Like they came out today and said the whole state is doing really good, except for you guys in the corner. You guys in the corner, you're doing bad. So you're going to be in timeout for a while. So we're going to be in timeout for a while. Oh, thank you so much, Tom. I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate it. It really means a lot. So no, that's the thing I told Paigey that I didn't even want to mention it originally because of the fact that I don't want to be like these virtual panhandlers where you go in their stream and they're like, so let me do an impression of some streamers here because this is funny. You ready for this? You ready for the edginess? So this is going to be taken out of context, right? They're sitting here and they'll go, well, I don't know if I'm going to keep streaming. There's nobody super chatting. And they'll say that. And then it's like, it makes you feel like you're sitting here watching and you can't even be generous because they're complaining about it. It's really crazy, but I hate going into streams where that's like the topic of conversation. I personally don't like talking about that throughout my stream. And I get a bit annoyed when the people you're watching talk about it through the entire stream. So that's kind of, the way it is or whatever. So, thank you, Staggervore. Like, see, you guys are awesome. You didn't have to do this. Like, I totally thank you so much. And Victor with a $49.99 super chat. Victor, thank you so much. You guys are absolutely awesome.
Wow. This was okay. Well, so I didn't want because Eric was planning to reveal this in I think 2, maybe 3 weeks from now.
Here we go.
I don't know if he's going to go through with it, but he would like your feedback. OnlyFans. Is it going to
demonetize? Congratulations, demonetize. I honestly even if people were like, absolutely, there's no way that would ever happen. So no, do not request that. Don't come on my videos typing that. None of that stuff. Thank you so much, Victor. That is so awesome. I really appreciate it. And you didn't have to do that. Thank you so much. Are you still going to go on Twitch? Well, now that I am no longer employed on the weekends, I may start doing gaming streams over on Twitch. I just didn't, between my YouTube and my regular job, it was just impossible for me to do that. I was trying to make it work. It just wasn't. But now that I have free time on the weekends, I may devote a couple of hours on the weekend to doing some actual some Twitch streams. So, oh geez, look all these people in here. You've got them going now. Oh look,
people want the OnlyFans.
No, they don't. So Rival Flash wants you to make one. Look at that. So
don't flip it.
No, I'm not. He's flipping it. I'm not flipping it. So, Shane, Twitch is a service like YouTube that focuses on gaming. It does everything, but its primary focus is gaming. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, thank you again, everybody, for the support. I'm going to try and do an extra live stream every week while I'm out of my job. So, yeah, stay healthy. I was very careful. Our club was being very careful about it. But the truth of the matter is that we're a resort area and people were coming here and, being careless. So they're doing what they have to do or whatever. Yes, thank you, all you Team Airrick members. Also, I know some people have talked about this, and I can't even believe I'm doing a shout out for this. It feels like it's been years. But if you would like to help support the channel and you don't want to use the Google, the Team Airrick join button, I do have a Patreon. My Patreon mirrors all of my videos from my Team Airrick feature. You just don't get the benefits of the badges or the emojis or anything like that. Because I can't, there's no way for me to do that. But if you don't want to use this and you have a PayPal and you'd rather use Patreon and you do want to support the channel, the link for that is going to be in the info box for anybody that's interested in that. And I try to, again, upload content to both of them. So anything you get over here as a Team Airrick member, you would also get over on Patreon. That's really the best I can do. So thank you guys so much. Before dad jokes, we have a 199 super chat from Brandon 52. What the hell will happen with Barbara? So I guess you mean like because of what's going on with Jordan and everything. So I will say this: there were some people that were hoping that she was going to be like the Liberty Bell character. Did you see the people asking for that?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Oh no, because she's not Liberty Bell.
You don't think that they would twist it up and switch it around for the show or anything? Like
I don't think you can twist some stuff around, but that's like completely changing who the character is.
Yeah.
Like.
So thank you so much for the super chat. Yeah, everybody, please stay safe. Like, honestly, do what you can to stay safe. Don't go out and be reckless. I'm kind of a homebody. The only time I left the house really was to go to work. So I was super, super careful, but I know that it's still dangerous in a lot of places, and just be real safe and take care of yourself. Okay, now with that being said, I have 2 dad jokes. How many do you have?
3, so I'll go first.
All right, go ahead. You go first.
The DC fandom is like a newspaper.
Okay.
There's a new issue every day.
At least that was a short one. I'll give you that. At least that was a short one. Thank you so much, Canada Graphs. Yeah, that's my Patreon. Okay. Here's my first one. Why did the Scarecrow get the Scarecrow of the Year award?
He was very scary.
Because he was outstanding in his field. Get it? Outstanding.
Oh, wow.
All right. Oh, please, like, don't click on that, guys. That's not a real thing. That's not a real thing. Okay. The one from Canada Graphs is real. Pagey is trolling. That's not a real thing. Okay. Go ahead and give us your next joke. Demonetized again, just over and over again, just constantly.
Oh, how funny. A book just fell on my head. I only have my shelf to blame.
That was actually kind of funny. I'll give you that. That was funny, but it wasn't like knee slapping funny. All right, here we go. This is my second one. I'm terrified of elevators. I'm going to start taking steps to avoid them.
Oh, wow.
How about that one? Was that edgy enough? Hashtag edgy.
I don't know. You might want to end the stream after this next one, though.
Okay, here we go.
So I bought my friend an elephant for his room.
Mm-hmm.
He said, thanks. And I just said, don't mention it.
That's it. Stream over. Stream over. Done. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us this evening for the after party. Glad to have a chance to chat with you guys. Thank you so much for everybody that has signed up for Team Airrick, either here or over on the Patreon. Appreciate it. Everybody that super chatted, I appreciate it. Everybody that is here just hanging out. Thank you guys so much for coming in and taking part in this and helping to support the channel. It really means a lot. Even the main thing. Go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Well, yeah, I've been Taint. I've been your co-host. And the main thing is, for the next week until the next after party, be sure to just, even if it's just once per day, I'd prefer once per hour, but I know people are occupied. So at least once per day, please tweet at airricksreloaded or djairrick on Twitter. When is the OnlyFans coming? I will join. I don't know if we should get a hashtag, release the OnlyFans. I don't know what we're going to be doing. If you want to give me suggestions, hit me up on Twitter to say, got this going. But yeah, we'll come up with an idea. I don't know when, as I said, I don't think Eric's going to think about releasing it for another 3 weeks just because I think there's some manscaping he had planned, but yeah, we'll get it done. We'll get it done. But yeah, just I prefer once per hour, but once per day is fine.
Once per hour? Really? Are you putting that evil on me?
Well,
once per hour.
Yeah, that's just the way to go. It. So yeah, well, I don't know if we should go hashtag release the OnlyFans because that could just go with a lot of different other people's OnlyFans. I'm sure that that hashtag's going. So maybe just tweet at DJ Airrick on Twitter, hashtag OnlyFans.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask you to not tweet to me on Twitter about OnlyFans once an hour.
Feel free to tweet at me and then also tag DJ Airrick.
Oh, okay, there we go. So that's the
preferably tweet at DJ Airrick.
All right,
and then maybe go thoughts Pagmice.
We're out of here. If you guys missed any of the earlier part of the live stream, it will be available.
Actually, sorry. One last thing. Someone just gave me an idea. The first OnlyFans exclusive will be reacting to Thong Song in a thong. So that's your exclusive. If you're looking forward to that, then maybe, as I said, maybe tweet at Airrick.
That's not an exclusive. That's not going to be an exclusive. It's not.
Oh, sorry. It's not an exclusive technically because it's going to be on OnlyFans and his Patreon. So yeah. So technically it's not
Good
an exclusive.
Good night. Watch the stream back when it played back. Thank you so much. Goodbye.